Hello. So, uh, I feel like I'm gonna sound like a conspiracy theorist with this, because I'm just like drawing circles and connecting dots and all over the place. So, the story we hear about, uh, Satan, tempting Adam and Eve in the garden, um, while it's true, Satan, wasn't the snake. The snake was actually the devil, and Revelations, and the devil's sin. Revelations 12:9 says that the the great dragon is talking about Lucifer, and the serpent. The serpent is the devil. So if you go back to look in the Bible and pull out a bunch of verses and combine them, it starts to make more sense. So there's the verse in Ezekiel about Lucifer being in the garden, covered with a bunch of different stones, and there's these terms used that people assume are musical terms, because it's like says like drums and cymbals or something. But if you actually reference them in the concordance and Strong's, you can see that they're actually terms for a jeweler setting stones. It's just talked about the expertise that God used when setting these stones in Lucifer. And Lucifer was the anointed cherub that covereth, and so what that means is he was like a big shield that covered God, and God's glory was shown through his different jewels or different works. And so Lucifer was the only thing that God's glory shone through, and then God created Adam and Eve, and then he crowned them with glory and honor. So then Lucifer says, what is man that you are mindful of him? I don't remember what the verse says exactly, but he gets jealous. So he says, I'm going to exalt my throne above God. No, not my throne. Yeah, I'm going to exalt my throne above the stars of God. And so the stars of God is a reference to Abraham's descendants. And so that was Lucifer saying that he's going to exalt his throne over Adam and Eve. And so he sends a seraphim serpent, seraphim, however you say it, is an angel, or in the rank of angels, and so he would have been under Lucifer's throne. So he sends a seraphim serpent, and that was like a serpent, down to Adam and Eve, and tricked them, and then they stole dominion over the earth. And so now sin had dominion, because Adam and Eve chose to serve sin, the serpent, over God, and so by doing this, they divorced God and married sin. That's why God hates divorce, because of what it does. But it was done to him first, and so now sin's in the world, and so that's when Revelations 18. No, it's Revelations 12. It says that God cast Lucifer out of heaven, and that Lucifer and his angels fell. If you reference all that, the angels is actually the same word as could be translated messenger, and same word used for the thorn in Paul's flesh. Anyways, he said that he was going to told the serpent he was going to crawl in the dirt for the rest of his life. So sin's in the world, and everything in the world is made from the world, so sin is in everything. So sin had dominion, was in everything, and so Nothing was held against anybody because there was no law. Nobody knew what right and wrong was. So then you have Abraham, and he just chose to believe God, despite what his body told him. But Abraham this was before the law, so he was a false witness, he committed adultery, he did a bunch of things, but God still used him because there was no law. But then Abraham descended all the way to the Israelites, and they were in captivity. They were led out of Egypt, and then God made a covenant with them called the Ten Commandments with the Israelites. And so the Ten Commandments, so now the Ten Commandments, and so now all these things that sin wanted to do in their bodies, God was telling them not to do by the Ten Commandments. So anytime they broke the Ten Commandments, Satan could say, look, my seed's winning. Sin's winning. Sin in their flesh is winning. Regardless of what you said, my sin, my son, my seed is winning. So went through all that, and the law was made, but the law was made for transgressions. The law was to show us that we couldn't do it on our own. The law was to lead us to Christ. So then we have the Israelites, which the law was made with, and then we have everybody else. So Israelites was the only ones that were considered clean. Everybody who wasn't an Israelite was unclean. It was a sin to be somebody else. So then Jesus completed the law, because there's a law like Leviticus 17:11 or 17:14, something like that, says that I offer my blood as atonement for sin. And so because Jesus was a perfect sacrifice, because he wasn't from the seed of Adam, so therefore his punishment was not deserved. So all the punishment for sin that should have went to all of us went to Jesus, and because Jesus paid for that sin, nobody can be punished. Sin cannot be held against anybody. And so because sin has already been taken care of and can't be held against anybody, now the Holy Spirit can reign in our bodies and empower us to do what we couldn't do on our own. So that's what this is about. So I lost my train of thought. So sin is flesh. We couldn't do it on our own. Jesus came to complete the law. Now we have the Holy Spirit, which helps us overcome the flesh. And so the Holy Spirit, we overcome our sin and that's in our flesh by the Holy Spirit through peace, love, joy, patience, all that stuff, all the good stuff. So that's why we aren't supposed to follow the law, because we can't do it on our own. We have to have the Holy Spirit to do it. The Holy Spirit did not empower us to keep the law. The Holy Spirit fulfilled the law, and so we can be merciful, we can have peace, we can have patience, we can have long suffering, we can do all that stuff because God empowered us to do it. He put a Jesus battery in our back instead of hitting us over the back with the Ten Commandments. So that's what I have to say about that. So you can see all this in the Old Testament when the Israelites were delivered from Egypt, which is a type and shadow for being delivered from sin. They walked around, and then they got bit by snakes, and these snakes, they could be healed if they looked upon the serpent on the pole. Well, it says that they're bit by fiery snakes, and the word fiery is also translated as seraphim. Seraphim is a type of angel, and that's why I believe that the serpent in the garden was a seraphim serpent, somebody under the throne of Lucifer, because Lucifer sent somebody. He said, "I'm going to exalt my throne over God's throne, over the stars of God." He didn't exalt himself over God's throne. God didn't lose. God didn't lose. He didn't lose angels. He didn't lose the. So there's just a bunch of folklore and old wives' tale that are preached as gospel in the Bible, and people just need to read the Bible and figure out the truth and believe it. So have a good day. Have a good day.